Namaskar and welcome to the first session of the Counselor of Hindu Tradition course as well as the Hindu Chaplaincy Pathway course. This is a group of 3 lectures. My name is Gaurav Rastogi and we're going to begin with the opening prayers. The opening prayers are on your screen. At this point, I'd like to invite you to just sit comfortably. Sit in any comfortable posture, sitting with your back straight. If you're sitting on a chair, make sure your feet are in full foot contact with the floor below. Just let them relax, full foot contact. Sitting comfortably with your back straight, the back, neck and head in a straight line. Close your eyes gently and bring a gentle smile to your face. Relax your shoulders. Relax your belly. The back is straight but not stiff. The back, neck and head are in a straight line. Breathing into the belly, let the belly expand. Breathing out of the belly, gently let go. Stay attentive to your breath in the belly. Breathing in, let the belly expand. Breathing out, simply let go. Now bring your palms together in Namaskar Mudra at the heart center, pressing the palms together gently, touching the fingers together gently, and gently touching the back of the thumbs into your chest. Stay right here and bring your attention to the hollow space between the palms. Keep your attention here to any sensation, any vibration. We're going to chant Om 3 times and then the opening prayer, Sahana Bhavatu. You can chant along or simply listen. Exhale completely. Take a deep breath. Inhale. 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 Inhale and chant. Sahana Bhavatu
Sahano Bhunaktu
Sah Viryam Karavavahe
Tejasvinavaditamastu ma
Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti
Shanti
Shanti. Take your arms behind you, grab your right wrist with your left hand and breathing in, stretch. Breathing out, bend forward in a deep sense of surrender. Come back up, breathing in, release your hands, rub your palms together to generate some heat and then gently cup your eyeballs with the hollow palms to transfer that heat. Massaging the face and the neck, blinking, open your eyes and pull your palms back like an open book. Namaskar. Namaskar and welcome again. Let me tell you a little bit about the verse that we opened this class with, this and every future class with. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from illness, may all see what is auspicious, may no one suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace. This is an Upanishadic verse of peace for all and has traditionally been used as an opening prayer at in the Upanishads themselves, as well as in yoga classes around the world. And this continues to be our opening prayer as well. So namaskar again. This is our first session, and I'm going to introduce you to my resident faculty over here, which is Kailashji. I will introduce you to him. But first, let me tell you a little bit more about a few things that need to happen. So first thing is, here is a QR code, and this is for the 2023 CHT cohort. Please point your phone to the screen and point your camera at the screen, and it should invite you to the 2023 cohort. If you're watching this later, then of course you're going to get a different link. So make sure you join the cohort. This allows you to join the group, and it allows you to become a part of the community and receive messages on time. All right, let me tell you the agenda for today. You're watching this session. This session is titled Spiritual Care and the Hindu Diaspora. In reality, we're going to give you a perspective of HCI, Hindu Community Institute, why we came to be and what we're doing and what we're here to do and what we're going to engage in together. And we're going to do this in 3 lectures. Lecture 1 addresses HCI's perspectives on the future generations of the Hindu diaspora. In lecture number 2, we're going to talk about spiritual care and chaplaincy. In lecture number 3, we're going to talk about how we would like to preserve the Hindu tradition by putting the tradition to work in improving the quality of life for all of us in the community. And then we close with the closing prayers. Now, we'd like to have you watch these 3 lectures before the live discussion. So make sure you've watched everything and taken your notes, and then I'll give you more instructions later. Then we're going to meet you again at the live discussion, at which point you'll be meeting our faculty associates for the session. All right, with that said, let me introduce you to the first lecture, which is the HCI addressing the future generations of the Hindu diaspora. And to do that, I'm going to introduce you to Kailashji. Kailashji is one of the founders of the Hindu Community Institute. For many years prior to starting the institute, Kailashji and several others got together week on week to think about how the Hindu tradition can be communicated to future generations. And HCI was born. HCI is only the latest in the nonprofit organizations that Kailashji has started. He's a retired IBM executive. He's been around the world leading IBM's operations, but since then, he has started several highly successful nonprofit startups out of Silicon Valley, including Thai and American Indian Foundation and several others. He has a BE degree from the Indian Institute of Science, which is very prestigious, in Bangalore, and an MS degree from Washington State University, as well as a PhD from Cornell in Ithaca, as well as a doctorate in science from the Garhwal University. He has worked he's a Karma Yogi par excellence, and his work will show through in all the work that you're seeing at HCI, and he's going to be introducing the first lecture. So I'd also like to tell you our faculty associates for this session, for the 2023 batch, are Sita Prasad-ji was part of the CHT2023 cohort, the very first cohort, as well as Ratna Dutt-ji, who just graduated in the 2022 cohort. Their details are listed here on the screen. Kailashji.
Thank you. Thank you, Gauravji. At this time, I think before I get to my section, first of all, I welcome all the CHT and HCP scholars from all the countries. It's a very proud opening for us for this new cohort with some exciting energies and people ideas coming in. But before that, I want to introduce you to Gauravji, also give a brief introduction of him, because what is HCI today would not have been possible without his enduring and a world-class effort on many, many fronts. He's a business executive, he's an entrepreneur, he's a yogi, he's a teacher, and above all, he's a super karma yogi. Everything we do at HCI, his signature has gone into it and continues to. And so we've been very lucky to have him. He and I have worked very close In fact, not a day goes by without he and I talking about something we need to do, something we need to fix, and some new opportunity. So it's been a real pleasure, and we run this session together today, and you'll see much more of him in the course than you'll see of me. But I'm delighted to be here with and opening this new cohort with all of you. So if I can get the next chart. Yes, so here is the beginning of how we conduct our classes. We give you the 2 weeks to review these videos, and you also can do a group discussion. You will be assigned to a group actually. By this time, I'm sure you know your group. So we expect you to then come to the discussion session, a 2-hour session on Fridays, California, or Saturday in other countries. And in that session, we want everybody to come in. The faculty will do an overview of the session, and then you participate by bringing in your context, your summaries, your questions into discussion, and all the worldwide scholars will participate in that. So you also get to see everyone, and hopefully over the duration of the course, you also make some friends. So we start out by saying, what is the objective of this session? This session is of the 24 sessions. It is the one. Our program is 72 units. So this session constitutes 3 units. Our basic learning objectives today are, we want you to receive from us a good understanding of HCI as a learn, serve, learn institution. That is how we define us. We learn to serve and we serve to learn. That is fundamentally our basis for an institution. We want you to also have a good understanding of the 2 courses that we are running together. The HCP course that leads you into chaplaincy at GTU will go for first 12 combined weeks. Then you move on. The CHTs will continue for the remaining 12 and complete their 24 sessions that way. We want to give you a good sense of spiritual care and chaplaincy that Gaurav already talked about, and put it in the context of Hindu tradition. We call that a continuum of care, which is a mix of volunteers and professionals. So there is a continuity of care at different levels in the community, and this is a new concept. So we'll talk more about that. We'll also talk to you about Bhagavad Gita, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga being a fundamental element of that. But there are many others, talking about distress, talking about celebrations, talking about the right way to live, grieving, and all those things. We use Bhagavad Gita as a guide, like a counselor of counselors. And we'll also introduce you to the concept of, we call them Om dollars, which have really allowed us to build this beautiful institution called HCI. Our approach for you to learn the pedagogical approaches include a little bit of a homework, not a big one, but also some fieldwork research in lieu of tuition for CHTs. We have them do a 50-hour community service work that gets you into practice of community service, and we'll talk about that later also. Core material is for you to review this video. Our course prerequisite for this course is your admission to the program, either CHT or the HCP course. And for reference, we very much recommend you to go through our souvenir document, especially the 2022 document, which represents the graduation we had last month. So that will give you that perspective. And then you will get to read some things about chaplaincy surveys and Hindu diaspora demographics. Just browse through to get a little bit better sense of what we talk about. Next, we go to the homework. We're going to talk about this at the end also, but just so that you know as you review the video, we're going to ask you to do a very simple beginning of your thinking today based on this session and your own interests, the interest that brought you into this program of learning to serve. You answer 3 questions in this. First question is, okay, after you finish this course, Where would you like to serve? And we'll tell you the places you can serve. We talk about that a little bit more. In what capacity would you like to serve? For example, do you see it as a volunteer? Do you see it as a career? Do you see it going into chaplaincy? Just early thinking. We're not talking about a final thinking, but you're thinking at this stage of the game. And then it is, when you serve a community, it is not a straightforward just go and serve. It requires a methodical approach, as you know, finding the right place. But you also need a lot of support in terms of expertise and resources and infrastructure. So anyway, you will appreciate that. So we want you to do a short review of this as a homework for this particular session number 1. And you will notice, and we also realize, that your vision will continue to evolve over the course. And then at the end, we'll end up with something that becomes your roadmap for going forward. So this is just to give you a little warm up on the homework. It will be simple. So when you review the video, you keep that in mind. In terms of the rules of the game, we'll have, of the 24 sessions for the CHT course, we will have 22 of them will have homework. Of the HCP course, of the 12 sessions, we'll have 10 of those will have homework. You can submit your answers in text, audio, video format. It will be on the Learning Management System Moodle, which you will be very soon given an orientation for. The homework for this session number 1 will be referred to as HW01. Our grading is done very simply as M+, meeting the requirements or exceeds, and M- means need more work. So that will not count as satisfactory completion. So you will have to repeat it, be given some time to do that. Most people, by the way, come up with M+, so it's not a big concern, and they are very it's a subjective kind of grading, not a ABCD or quantitative grading. So don't get nervous about that. So we require 80% of those to be 8 out of 10 or 18 out of 22. The rules for submission are your homework becomes due within 2 weeks from the day of the discussion session on a Friday. If you have a discussion on Friday number 1, Friday number 3 is the last date for you to submit your homework. And then from there, 2 weeks further down is the time for the FAs or the faculty to complete the grading and post your grading on Moodle. So that is our 6-week cycle that I think I'll talk about it a little bit later, in a little bit more quickly, give you a good sense of it. For your help and guidance, you will have our faculty associates are your best contact. They're very easily available on WhatsApp, on emails, or phone numbers, or whatever you want to call them. And for ANZ, for Australia, New Zealand, we have mentors, and they're also similarly accessible. And I think the rest I talked about when it's due. But please use these resources very generously when you need them in the beginning, at least. Now, the outline of coming to my first session, sub-session today, is going to be about HCI. What is the method to the madness? Who are we? What are we trying to do? Why did we get you into this? So we'll talk about that. And I hope you'll appreciate the insights that we have. And even more so, we hope you'll share those insights with us and you'll join hands in this journey. We'll talk about the Hindu diaspora, talk about our insights, visions, and aspirations. Briefly talk about the CHT HCP course and the content and again the reasons behind the architecture of the course that we have decided on. And for you to get a sense of what are the commitments and what are the opportunities. So that will be kind of the first third of our discussion today. HCI basically is a culmination of about maybe 10 years of discussion among people in Silicon Valley before we founded it. And it all centered around a fundamental issue of the Hindu tradition, the Vedic 15,000-year tradition that has continued on in the old Indian scene, India scene, and how that can be carried on, the values, the richness of it can be carried on outside of India in the diaspora for and by the future generations. That was fundamentally what we feel has been kind of a getting softened, loosened, decoupled, and it has been a matter of concern for many, many of us. So we decided to do something about it. And so it was HCI was a very modest effort on our part in 2018 as a non-profit in California, using the Silicon Valley kind of an entrepreneurship approach, self-funded modestly, and got a good bunch of very highly competent volunteers to get this thing started. And we decided to dedicate this institution to service learning with a very strong focus on spiritual care and quality of life, as opposed to devotion or religion. We have plenty of temples and plenty of activities and priests that has kept our tradition going at that level. However, we believe that at the community service and spiritual care level, we have been lacking. This institution is owned by the Hindu community, and it is open to all. Anyone, everyone is welcome without regard to their background, religion, gender, economic condition, all those factors. We welcome everyone, and we are very happy that we have been embraced by everybody that touches us. We are guided by an active board. The board members are actively working as resident faculty in most cases, or in other management positions. And we are served by about 100 plus world-class faculty, subject matter experts, and managers. We manage SCI as a well-established corporation with all the governance and all the processes pretty much at the most recent terms, and use technology as much as possible to our advantage. We have affiliations with about 20 plus Hindu, Vedic, interfaith, civic entities where we participate, we borrow, we share different ideas. And we now have applicants from multiple countries, notably US, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and India. And as you will see, we have ambitions to go to the entire diaspora over time. In terms of what we offer as an institution, we on the learn side of our functionality, we are offering 2 courses: the CHT course, which has been our flagship course. It trains volunteers over the period of about 10 months. And they are now ready to serve in the community in any capacity, anywhere, anytime. But they have been given proper training and protocols to qualify as highly professional volunteers. The HCP course is a shortened version that prepares you for the chaplaincy, pre-chaplaincy ICP course at GTU. We're delighted to have that recognition by GTU, which is the Harvard of theology, actually. So we are very proud of that association and building on it very much. On the serve side, we offer 2 things. We have daily wellness classes for globally available with trained volunteers, teachers who teach yoga, pranayama, meditation, and nutrition. And that's available to all free. We don't charge anything. And we have a volunteer service which is open to anyone also. We're looking to expand it into something called the Ananda Core. But here anyone can call a number and a volunteer, our CHT will pick it up and guide the person, matters like last rites and celebrations and perhaps compassionate presence. We're looking at more functions for that purpose, but a place for a Hindu or anyone else perhaps to call in and get some guidance directly or get a referral. So that is a kind of in the nutshell what HCI is. It's a non-profit run by the community for the community. It's very cooperative. It's multinational, global, and it has 2 major functions of teaching and serving. The curriculum we established with some of us with the academic, civic, and spirituality backgrounds, and that is how the board kind of created this course, which basically has the requirement of Hindu wisdom and tradition. About, I would say, 1/3 of our content deals with our tradition, the richness, the nuances, the insights, and those. Then we go into essential skills for a human being to be able to touch other people and be of service: counseling, psychology, ethics and privacy, social sciences to some degree. And then we focus on very strong focus on aging and related issues, health and wellness, planning for life events, parenting, marriages, and those lifetime kind of experiences where people can benefit from some guidance. And then we do individual projects under what we call home dollar projects, the learning. So that's basically a broad view of the curriculum that you're going to experience. Yeah. So again, coming back to what I before talked to you about the homework for this session, this applies to all the sessions, all the homework you will do. You have the Moodle link at the bottom, the brown link. Moodle is our chosen learning management system, or LMS. It is where you basically pick the lesson, so you dial in to review the lesson. That's where you upload the homework. That's where you receive your grades. That's where you interact with your faculty and others in that system. So this is a 6-week lesson learning cycle. So in T-2 weeks, you get to watch the video. You have the video available to you. Then you review it. And then you go to your own group virtually or whatever way, interact with them. And then on the day of the discussion, you join the entire, for global scholars of both the HCP and CHT courses. And the 2-hour discussion happens where faculty will do an overview, you do your presentations, then there is a wrap up. And then you now have a time to complete, if you have not already done so, you have 2 additional weeks to turn in your homework. And the FAs have 2 additional weeks to complete the homework. So we have a very liberal, generous cycle to complete this process. And this goes on through the entire 24 courses. At the end, we look at the performance, your attendance, and then we are very happy to issue a certificate to you for completion. This is the cumulative profile of all the people that we have graduated so far in this CHT course. Basically, you will see that we have a good representation of people we require minimum a college degree. We have 45% with masters, 13, so about 58% people have masters or PhD degrees, and for MD, JDs, we have a good representation of those degrees. If you look at the employment occupation, about 58% are working professionals, and there are 30% are self-employed homeowners. We have a good representation of retired people. We have no limits on anybody coming in. Anybody who qualifies, we basically invite them to join the course. Students, we have not had much success with, because I think maybe it's too early for them to get into this mode of thinking. But we do have an opening there for we encourage students to come in. In terms of gender, unlike the world's big institutional problems, we do not have that. You can see we are nearly 60% female, 42% males, 58, 42. And we represent in every level of our function, our teaching. If you look at our resident faculty, visiting faculty, we have a very beautiful balance of genders and all of the energy coming into this. So we're very proud of that. Our age group predominantly is the 45-65 age group, about 70% of those. We have a fair representation of 25-45 and some representation of 65 plus. And they, of course, bring their own wisdom and their own value in the classroom. And so we got very proud of this demographic profile. And we hope to just continue on and get everyone to come and participate. So now coming to what was the thought process? What were we thinking about this curriculum, the foundation, the approach? What is missing? And I think basically this chart summarizes the HCI platform. It is learn to serve. And we believe that if you learn, you serve. As you serve, you learn more. And you come back and you serve more and you learn more. So it's a virtuous cycle. And it continues through lifetime. It also expands, it propagates, it's also contagious to the extent that you influence other people to come in and join you. And so this comes from, I think, the fundamental element of why we human beings do this, get into this. That is because we all have some kind of a spirit of giving back or helping or doing good. And so in that spirit, we have basically people coming in, and the good thing about that is that there's no limits to it. Once you begin this, you cannot cap it. It just continues on. So this is a limitless dimension of human aspirations, human behavior, whatever you want to call it. And on the other side, we have on the Hindu tradition side, we have the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita and Karma Yoga that also has no limits. Every time you read the Bhagavad Gita and you come up with some new interpretations and new findings, new insights, and new inspirations. So this limitlessness of Bhagavad Gita and limitness of the human spirit to do greater good and to give back is what HCI brings together on this platform. So as you will see, everything we do and say kind of fits onto this. So we now go to a description of the Hindu diaspora. Who are these people? Who are we talking about? In India, this is not a generic topic because the Hindu tradition and the values and all the things, they're kind of in the air, at least in large parts of the country. Perhaps in the metros, it may be changing. But in the diaspora, where we live in isolated conditions in different communities, that element of sharing and caring does not exist. So we are now going to focus on what is the diaspora. Diaspora basically is a group of people who spread from one original country to others. From all the reading that you do, you will find out that Indians, of which 80% are Hindus. So I just want to interchangeably use them, but not mix everybody else in our this definition of Hindu. There is about 30 plus million as of this year. The Hindus live abroad. Indians are living abroad outside of India, and of those, about 18 plus have foreign passports. That means they have severed their links with India, and their future generations will most likely not be attached with India. The other 14 are NRIs, or people who still have an Indian passport, go back and forth, and their minds are not made up yet. But this population is increasing. This is a phenomena of the last 40, 50 years. Unlike the Jewish diaspora, India, the Hindu diaspora is a more recent phenomenon, but it's growing very rapidly. And so even then, I think the Indian diaspora tend to be with the strong connections with India, but it does fade with generations, and it fades rather rapidly. I mean, from our own experiences, I know that as children, grandchildren, it doesn't stay. And I think the diaspora is known very positively for education, prosperity, professionalism, and very good citizenship. You don't see Indians creating troubles outside, you know. So that's basically how we define the Hindu diaspora. And I think the next chart shows you the spread in different countries. I think that they are basically the Middle East is very rich with the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and all these Kuwait. United States among the Western countries is the biggest. Then you have UK, you have Australia, and then many other countries. There's some numbers there. We are the largest diaspora. As I said, it's a phenomenon of the last 40, 50 years. And we also know that generational linkages with India rapidly decline. And as you will see in the remaining part of our presentation, we'll show you how the intergenerational knowledge of a tradition can be carried forward much more effectively through the mechanisms of spiritual care as opposed to just a simple identity. So we'll talk about that a bit more. Okay. Here is the phenomena, we call that the mainstreaming of Hindu tradition. I think we all know, you all know, that in the last 10, 15, 20 years, there has been a very strong adaptation of the Hindu ways and practices globally. Our traditions used to be considered strange, foreign before. Now they are accepted and respected. They may not always give proper credit or attributions to the Hindu traditions when they adopt these. Good example is yoga, meditation, pranayama, vegetarianism, even namaste became more popular during the pandemic. Non-violence, Indian cuisine, Ayurveda, and cremation. You know, there used to be a strange reaction to Hindu cremations. Now, about 60% plus Christian last rites are performed through cremation. Over just very quickly, 1 decade or so. So there is a major acceptance and adaptation of the Hindu ways. I think our demographics have been very impactful. The CEOs, the high techies, medicine, academics, hospitality, spelling bee. I mean, you don't have to say anything, that immediately the name Hindu or Indian will pop up. These are our branded functionalities around the world. And in terms of our education and income and good citizenship, we do stand out. So these are things to be very proud of. So this is sort of a kind of a high level status of the diaspora Hindus and Indians. Here's a comparison that we like to make because we believe we have a lot to learn from the Jewish tradition for what they have accomplished. And so we have looked at the Bay Area. This data is a couple of years old, but I don't believe it has changed much. So if you look at the population and between the total population, Hindus in the gold and the Jewish population in the blue, we are about 3% of the Bay Area. The Jewish population is 4%. If you look at the family income over 100K, the Hindu population has about 49%. Jewish population about 46, very comparable, very similar. College education is where we stand out significantly of the adults, college degree holders. The Hindu population is 77%, Jewish is 59%. But overall, I think we are very comparable in terms of our accomplishments, our status in the communities, and our basic performances. But there is a vast difference as we see it in preserving the tradition. I think the Jewish people, by virtue of their practices and emphasis, have been much more successful in maintaining the tradition through the generations. So that is the point of this chart. And by the way, we do cooperate with them and other traditions similarly to find out and to learn from them how they accomplish this continuity of tradition.
Karaji, I just wanted to add to what you were saying, that the Jewish people have been in the diaspora for thousands of years. They have significant experience in being away from their motherland and continuing their tradition whether they're in Germany or Russia or France or India or whatever, they have continued to teach their children their tradition and propagate it. So clearly, Hindus being out for 2, 3, 5 generations out of India are beginning to lose what the Jewish people have been carrying out for thousands of years. So clearly, there's much for us to learn. Similar with other diasporas as well, but I just wanted to point this out. Thank you, Kailash.
Very good point. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. But that also talks about it tells you that it is achievable. This retention of tradition is achievable. That's a strong endorsement of our push. Anyway, yes, I think again in line with the mainstreaming. And again, looking at the Bay Area, we are finding out is that the percent of Hindu population in these communities, in many these are very prestigious communities here in townships, have exceeded 10%. Okay, you look at Cupertino, Fremont. I think about 5 or 6 of the very significant communities, and they're also now participating in the governance of these places, mayoral positions and councilorships, and so on and so forth. So again, that does the more acceptance and more mainstreaming, and our opportunity to give our ideas to the greater community also. So this is a growing phenomenon. And I think it applies in other parts of the world as well. So now we're going to talk about. So what are our vision? What are we thinking? What have we been using to enhance our mission to accomplish some of these goals that we have talked about before? So as we said is that we are a first of a kind institution, and we'll talk more about some of the elements that make us unique. I think the key thing we have learned is that number one is that interfaith learning and sharing is extremely important for the Hindu diaspora. Cooperating with the other traditions just to pick up some of the good ideas, but also give our ideas to them, and also build a goodwill and mutual respect among these traditions is very important, especially in the Hindu traditions where we get people putting pot shots on all kind of stuff, on small little incidents, we get big things happening. We need to balance that out with a mutual respect. We believe that Hindu spiritual care and chaplaincy is a must for us to address modern day problems in our community and elsewhere. And the other thing is that we believe that Hindu tradition and practices makes chaplaincy much richer, not just for us, but for other chaplaincy practices as well. Again, we will demonstrate that for you, what we mean by that. So it's a great give and take. Acceptance of chaplaincy as a vocation for us and bringing many of the Hindu practices into chaplaincy, I think is a win-win phenomenon for the whole world. And we also see, as the Jewish people have demonstrated, and lately the Buddhists are doing it, and the same Muslims are actually also doing it, is that the spiritual care vehicle is a much better way to carry tradition forward with generations, because the younger generations are more apt to appreciate this aspect of Hindu tradition than the devotional aspect or the pujas and the rituals, because they don't quite relate to it. So this is a great vehicle for our next generation and beyond to engage and carry forward. Our aspirations are we want to be helping families, hospitals, schools, senior homes, military, prison, wherever chaplaincy and spiritual care is needed. We want some Hindu presence. Our goals are to set a network of in 12 diaspora countries, to start with 100 CHTs and 108 Hindu chaplains in the near term. We went on our way in terms of what we've done over these years, and we hope to get to that goal, and then it will have enough momentum to carry on. That's what we believe. And we're also looking at a roster of 16 services that are online, available globally into all different areas: palliative care, hospice care, distress, loneliness. We want to have knowledge assets and counseling available to people from anywhere online using the technology. So that is basically a broad vision of where we want to go. And the good news is that we are well on our way. Now I'd like to talk to you about a very powerful concept that we developed at the very beginning, and that is called the Ohm dollars. Ohm dollar is basically a currency, karmic currency, where we recognize contributions by saying, thank you for what you did for us. So if you are a faculty who has contributed $10,000 worth of value to us in our teaching program, we say thank you. We are putting 10,000 Ohm dollars in your account. We don't pay them, but their account has now been served, and we have been served. So it's a value exchange. So we accept US dollars, and we get some of those, but 90% of what we have accomplished in HCI to date has been done through Ohm dollars. We have 100 people we talked about who served and built HCI. No one gets paid. These are some of the names you see here: faculty, distinguished lecturer, interfaith, visiting, and guest faculty, professional services, faculty associate. None of them, they have contributed 41,000 volunteer hours. So if you were to pay them at a quasi market rate, that will come out to a few $1 million. And that is what Ohm dollars are all about. So I hope it comes across to you. They're karmic dollars. The good thing about these dollars is they go with you. they don't get lost. They don't get stolen. So we encourage people to continue earning Ohm dollars as much as they do. And it has built a fine institution, and we will continue to use this currency for forever. So this is the putting Hindu tradition to work we talk about. Gauravji is going to elaborate on that much more down the road as we continue this session. Learn to serve, we talked about the course, the CHT course. So after you do the course, you can go serve in your own communities, any place you want, or you can come back to HCI. We use a lot of volunteers at HCI on services, and on the teaching side, we have 20 plus volunteer. The teaching, the faculty associates who help teach the course with the resident faculty. And then we now have the HCP course tied into GTU, and we are looking at creating the most prestigious Hindu chaplaincy. The significant part of that HCP course and the GTU ICP course combined is that for the first time ever, a Hindu has a pathway to chaplaincy. In the previous years, many Hindus went through the Christian pathway and were discouraged or confused and were not able to complete that route. So there are very few Hindu chaplains in North America for that reason, because there was no process, there was no pathway. We have got this pathway now, and to our delight, when we apply, we offer fellowships and admission requests. The number of applicants is mind-boggling. It's way beyond our expectations. So we're very happy that the concept of chaplaincy is being received among the very high end of our professionals and the people who are engaged in different careers, but they want to have a second career, or they want to transition to a chaplaincy and community service toward the last part of their careers. Now we go to the courses, but I think what I would suggest at this point, Gauravji, is that we recommend the class to go through the souvenir document I talked about at the beginning, which is listed at the very start. You will find all the details of the course in that document. And so, yeah, right here is a souvenir 2022. You will see, for example, the people. You will also see the profile of all the CHTs who were in the course. You will see the faculty. You will see the curriculum. You will see all aspects of right there, all aspects of the CHT course. And of course, you can also imply that the HCP course is also in there. See all the people that in the class, the faculty, and then the curriculum, the philosophy, all those aspects are in to that particular document. So take your time, and the more comfortable and familiar you become with HCI's mission and people, the more I think you're going to enjoy it, and hopefully also benefit and also contribute to what we are doing. So we can continue on that. Currently, I think we coming towards the end of our first module. Yeah. You can just spend a minute on the oath. Yes. So this is the oath that the board had established when we launched HCI. And the whole emphasis has been Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Yes, we are a Hindu tradition-based service organization, but our service is available to everyone. That is a very significant part of our planning and thinking. So we serve who seek my help regardless of the ethnic origin, religious affiliation, or social standing. And I will serve to the best of my ability with compassion and humility. I will abstain from any behavior that could cause harm and exercise care to maintain strict confidentiality and respect for all concerned. And this is the oath, that graduation that every CHT takes. And we emphasize this in our conduct every day, that our objectives are, and some of the practices that chaplaincy brings in, by the way, the protocols, they are embedded into this thinking also. So that is basically the philosophy and the thought process behind serving. So now I'm going to wrap up this session. And as you would have hopefully recognized, that we welcome you as a CHT HCP scholar, but also as a builder of HCI, because everything you do, it and improve our process, or to abide by the rules and to comply with the timelines and your quality of your homework builds HCI. So we welcome you coming in. I think we believe that the learn, serve, learn is a powerful concept built on Karma Yoga. And Om dollars, as I mentioned to you, provide the primary energy to HCI to the extent of 90% plus. And we still need funds, but it's a ratio. Every dollar we bring in or we contribute ourselves, you get 9 times leverage of that through this Om dollar concept. The second dimension of our presentation has been that the Hindu tradition benefits greatly from adaptation of spiritual care and chaplaincy, and Hindu practices greatly enhance chaplaincy and spiritual care. This is just a warm-up I gave you. Gauravji is going to take you through quite in depth of that particular theme, and hopefully you will go away with a greater appreciation of this particular takeaway. And finally, as we started in the homework, we believe that you can and you should build your own pathway through this training to some level of community service or further education in spiritual care, because the need is huge. The Hindu vacuum of spiritual care is remarkably big, and it needs to be filled with people like you and me and the rest of us being part of this exciting journey. So Gauravji, I will stop here and let you get to the next topic, please.
Thank you very much, Kailashi. Thank you. And for everyone who's watching, you should take a break now. You should pause the video, go take a walk, get some water, take a bio break. Make sure you're comfortable. The way to enjoy these lectures is to pace yourself, pay full, complete attention. Keep a pen and paper because you'll want to take notes. And if you have questions, write them down, send them to us through the faculty associates, and we'd be happy to take your questions and answer them. If you have any comments, you should send those as well. And when you join the WhatsApp group, you're going to be able to talk to us directly as well through the process. We're here for you. We want to make sure that you're enjoying this course and you're getting the maximum learning experience out of this. So you can pause the video and come back, and we'll get on to lecture 2, where I'm going to talk to you about spiritual care and chaplaincy. All right.